I'll talk more about agentic AI, how it's impacting the world right now. Everybody would have heard software 1.0, software 2.0, software 3.0. I think we are on the software 3.0 era, wherein software 1.0 is what we used to code. We used to write structured code and probably send it to machines to execute. Software 2.0 is when we built using AI predictive modelings, and now software 3.0 is when we are trying to tell AI to build software on its own. If you lately would have heard okay, let me start the presentation. It's okay. I'll not go through the content, but I'll talk on stuff. So basically, so in software 3.0, if you have heard, if you used latest ChatGPT and you give it, let's say, go and give a command in saying, I want to know the workforce impact or job displacement impact of agentic AI in India, it will actually write a Python code and come up with a answer. So this is where the software 3.0 is going. So my slide says enterprise shift to agentic AI, 25% cost saving in cloud operations as per Gartner, productivity improvement, large language models, I think it's pretty well known. Industry applications, so we have an application called GeoHealth. We run a large hospital in Mumbai and at various locations, wherein we are using it for diagnostics and recommendation. If you download an app called GeoHealth, you can actually upload your records. It actually tracks a lot of diagnostic companies, and it will automatically pull the records for you. It will give you a predictive, again, this is not doctor certified predictions, but it will tell you by doing an detection that what is likely problems you might have. We have our genome companies like Carkinos, and few other companies who are also working on using agentic AI to give you predictive precision medicine using predictive technologies. On e-commerce, we have dynamic pricing, logistical optimizations, and lot many use cases. So this is software 1.0 to 3.0. I would say if you had attended a session yesterday, there was a mention that there currently in India there are some. So we are talking about job displacement in general. So there was a mention of that there are nearly 10 lakh or a crore, or 10 million, I think, a crore likely software engineers in India, and they make around 157 billion decisions a year. And if we are able to use agentic AI by automating it 10 to 15%, I think we'll be able to save 10 to 20 billion dollars in general, because there is an estimate that we pay around, let's say, 500 rupees an hour or something of that sort at the normalized wage, right? So I think that's where the cost optimizations or benefits of agentic AI come in. We spoke about software 1.0. So this is where enterprise automation has gone in from 1.0 to 3.0. Now we are in agentic AI world. So my team, if you have used MyGeo, there is a vernacular bot, or if you call a call center, there is a vernacular bot which operates in 12 Indian languages and which solves all the customer queries in 22 different domains, and it handles 300 million queries. This is one of the largest deployment of, if you look at agentic AI, I would say in Indian language. So for doing that, obviously there's a lot of tech behind this. What is agentic AI systems? I think I won't go for the literal definitions. Right. So I'll just, these are all self-explanatory. I don't have a lot more graphics. These are more textuals, unlike Parna sir. Yeah, so I was mentioning one outcome where we said that nearly 1 crore engineers are there. I'm just talking about knowledge workers, and they make 157 billion decisions. So this is one of the metrics. But in general, I can tell you from our own experience, by using agentic AI in our own financial systems, health systems, or telecom systems, we are seeing a productivity improvement of more than 35%. So for an example, if a call center executive is given a co-pilot to solve problems and is given first dashboard with past experiences, the profile, the personalized understanding of a customer, it becomes more and more personalized and better. So the problem solutions are faster, and if AI talks to the person before a call center comes in play, it solves the problem, and maybe more than 50 to 60% calls have gone down um, for us in our call centers. So this is the measurable impact from our business perspective. Right, these are the 4 industry impact. Healthcare, we spoke about. Diagnostic intelligence, which we are using. There is one more impact of agentic AI. So if you know, before agentic AI, MasterCard also had a call center automation, but it used to be more robotic. The voice was not very human-like, and it was not personalized. So when we say agentic AI, it means that it is a well-rounded answer, and sometimes it knows that, for an example, it gets the data that you are watching the cricket match, which is 5th test happening in London. So it will also tell you a score which you would not have asked. So if that kind of personalization happens, right, it leaves a smile on a face of a person who's struggling with something in its business, right? So these are a positive impacts which was not possible earlier, right? So this is something which we are also attempting to do. E-commerce, okay, dynamic operations. So we use automatic agents for pricing, inventory management. You know, e-commerce is a very price sensitive world. We have a rule-based engine to look for the best pricing available for SKU across board. And then for inventory management, we don't want to keep an inventory. It's always the that you want to keep just-in-time inventory. The more dead inventory you have, the more problems you will have. Financial, so we launched JFS. We have recently, if you have downloaded, we had the largest launch of BlackRock Geo partnerships, which I think grabbed a couple of $1 billion worth of investment in a couple of days, 3-4 weeks ago from the market. It's the lowest cost mutual fund right now in the market. We use a lot of agentic system for, so it also does, JFS also does loan disbursement. So we use agentic flows to understand if there is a high chance of loan default or not. So there are algorithms inside it to analyze transaction patterns, geolocations, etc. Cloud operations, we also offer and operate a lot of cloud services, either on our own or in partnership with Azure or Google. So we manage those clouds. So for them, we have, instead of, the persons who are handling cloud, we know that we need SOC, we need L1, L2, L3 operations. So a lot of our L1 operations have moved to agentic AI to save on cost. Finding needle in haystack is always difficult, but using agentic AI algorithms, we are able to do it much better. The uptimes have improved. Right, so this is for somebody who wants to actually create implementation framework or an implementation plan, who wants to implement. I see a lot of next 100 upcoming CIOs in the room. So whoever wants to implement agentic AI, we can talk about it in person as well. So we in Jio, we are very price sensitive company as such. So we don't start any project without having a full thought through, a blueprint before attempting to invest anything. We can always experiment in labs. So we do a full-fledged readiness assessment, which takes a couple of weeks. So if you have taken an endeavor to start something on, let's say, call center or finance or health, we'll do a couple of weeks of assessment to basically understand that there is a reasonable output by investing so much. And then we will have a pilot design. So recently we have been trying to have an enterprise unified search. So we run a lot of manufacturing units, especially on the chemical side of it. So the whole OTC department has physical layouts of factories and blueprints and very old documents of 25 years, which is very which is digitized to an extent. I think we use context, but it is not searchable, which is very hard for anybody to figure things out. And we need to still keep it because those factories run from maybe 30 years now, and we continue to add more and more manufacturing units. So in the enterprise unified search, we are finding it now helpful. If you have looked the latest foundation models, they actually stitch in and are able to build knowledge which can be searched with a human context. And this is something we have recently endeavored on. We are taking some help from the partners also. But this was, I would say, not possible with the previous techniques which were available either in OCR or AI or scanning or things like that. So there's a lot of structured and unstructured data we have, ranging to petabytes of data. And that's now being grinded, and it will take, again, this is, I would say this is right now the implementation, one of the programs I'm looking at. So we are looking at that completing in next 10 weeks to make it more human readable and questionable by humans. And then the last is scale and optimize. So we run at India scale. So if you know anything we do, we are running at an India scale. So all our cost has to be very optimal for us to scale anything. So like our chairman says, if we are not looking at 100 million users or so, we actually don't even attempt to start that project. So there is a basic guideline that we need to at least look at certain amount of revenue in our readiness assessment, or certain amount of market share, or certain amount of users we are trying to hit before we even start the project. So we any of things we do, we will do at a India scale. So that is very crucial parameter for us, right? What all we need, AI engineers. I think Parna said we are lacking the whole skill set of AI engineers across India. Obviously domain experts, ethics, data scientists, security team. Security is very important. With the new AI coming in, we were in a panel discussion yesterday. So security is a new beast along with AI. It's not about just securing your PII data, customer data, but it's also about securing how the AI responds to your customer. It's if you go in detail, how do we handle prompt injection? How do we secure all the embeddings? I know all of us who's going to build anything on the latest software 3.0 has to use foundation model, which is built by either Chinese companies or a company in US, and we cannot send any data outside our premises. So there are ways in which you can encrypt all of it and share it in an embedded token form. So that we can discuss offline, but security is very important and different from what it used to be. Right, so as we go along in software 3.0, and like the agents will start taking more and more decisions. Obviously it has to be monitored by a human, but agents will start taking more and more decisions as we go along. And what is very important is obviously the accuracy of it reaching 100%, but the most important is its trust, right? If suddenly you go on MyJio and you talk to one of my agent, which is AI based, and it gives you an answer which is completely immoral or unethical, then the company can get a case, right? So the trust and accountability is very important. So human in the loop is always there, but you will have to still figure out a way in which you make the agents who will be able to get a guarantee. None of the foundation models right now in the market are able to give a guarantee of 100% accuracy. They're all running a probabilistic science, but there are ways in which you can implement trust and accountability and the escalation pathways. So that's very crucial, and we have built that. We have to define the boundaries. We have to define what it can answer, what it cannot answer, and I remember that somebody had escalated on Twitter some time back, saying that they talked to my agent uh, uh, and they, I think, asked for building cake or recipe or something, and uh, it went into a different direction. But when we found out that it was a wrong escalation or screenshot given by somebody else, actually it acted right. It said that we do not answer such questions or something like that. So this is where we have to reach. Otherwise, this can slowly become a big case, at least in our world. We discussed about alignments and ethics. So we have bias detection, mitigation protocols. We cannot be biased, attend racist or things like that. We know what happened with Google when it got biased for showing certain photos in Germany. Compliance and standards, yeah, we cannot leak any data outside our premises or India. We are RBI governed for finance, we are TRAI governed for telco. So none of our data can leak. So compliance and standards are very high in our case. Uh, we have explainability framework. So for us to achieve trust, accountability, and accuracy, we have explainability framework for us to explain why that path of AI was chosen, right? So this is modeled inside, and this is always looked by human in the loop, RHF. So what are the challenges of agentic systems? Usually, right now, if you, as I said, that businesses run on, you can always build a B2C or consumer application which can have 99%, 98% accuracy, but businesses and business decisions run on 100% guarantee. Right? If you tell, like Partner Sir was saying, if it has to monitor driveway or manufacturing unit, it needs to be 100% accurate. Otherwise, small welding, if it goes down, your car will break and you'll have a big fault. So the biggest problem right now for all foundation models which are in the market, they are good in 99, 98, 95% use cases, but they are not good for B2B because B2B wants 100% accuracy. So we have developed something, but this is one of the core challenges which we can discuss. How do we get out of it, that we always have 100% accuracy on our agentic systems? We have human in the loop, RLFH, reinforcement learning by human in the loop for us to have mitigation strategies. Regulatory, we spoke about. So next, what next? Domain expertise becomes more and more important. I was talking to some young students. They were saying now the job displacement is happening, and what will happen next for people who are even taking computer science, like my own kids. So then I said it will be multidisciplinary. It will never be a thing which used to be for 2 decades at least. We were fortunate. We were on that time that we were like, we know how to write code and we know how to deal with algorithms. We were happy, but now all of that will be automated. So multidisciplinary talent is very much required. So we invest people in saying that you don't need to be only an expert in writing code or in one technology. Look at things like domain, like business, and we can pay for it, and we give you those benefits. And we also proactively reward people who come up in, so every 3 months or every quarter we'll have a learning management, and who come up and learn more stuff out of their job. So so we have to all invest in interdisciplinary discipline. We have an AI governance board internally. I think that will become crucial and more crucial as AI takes the main say. Innovation culture is, yeah, so we all have to invest in innovation culture if we are all looking towards building agentic flows. Edge AI. So one of the things we also do is we have Edge AI. So all our telco networks sitting in AG3 locations, which is far and wide, they have running Edge AI to monitor the quality of our signal or the call. So they continuously emit, I think, some huge number of events, and they get analyzed then and there rather than sending it back to our central systems. So Edge AI is also important in today's day and world, but it depends on use case to use case. So I would say I'll driving enterprise agents. We have discussed about how do we implement day 1 to 30, and this is 90-day action plan for how do we implement or transform any enterprise workforce transformation strategic priorities. I'll say this one go. So I'll conclude my talk and we can discuss more details in person. This is more technical and not as visual as Parnaset did. All right. Any questions anybody has? Or we can talk after this as well.